Welcome. I'm Mark Lawson, CEO of MorningStar Music Publishers, and today I am joined by Ray Chenault. Ray and his wife Elizabeth are well known as duo organists and have performed extensively throughout the United States and Europe. And together they are editors of a series of publications that we publish at MorningStar of organ duets. So welcome, Ray.
Thank you, Mark. It's great to be with you and to talk to all these wonderful people who participate in all of your music. And thank you so much for sponsoring our series, our duet series. We're very honored that you've done that.
It's great to have it in our catalog. Before we start talking about the things in the series, give us a little bit of a background about how you got started on this duet journey.
Well, Beth and I were fairly newly married at the time, and we were both majored in organ performance in undergraduate school, and they went to graduate school and so forth. And then when we landed in Atlanta in 1975, we were under concert management. At least I started under concert management as a solo artist, organist. But I was on the road a lot and just didn't like being on the road playing recitals without her. And we began to explore the duet organ literature, Mark, and we found out, first of all, there was very little written and even less of it published.
Mm-hmm.
And so we played what was available, and it wasn't that interesting. And we started adding solo literature and then adding duet literature little by little. And then we decided that we wanted to start commissioning composers to write for this repertoire, which was greatly slighted. It was very little out there. So we decided that one of our missions in life was going, and our music career was to really add to this body of music. So the very first commission was Toccata for Two by Sir Arthur Wills from Ely Cathedral, England. And the second commission, we caught John Rutter when he was very young and starting to compose, and he wrote us an organ duet. They were our very first commissions.
Wow.
And so
Right.
now, many, many years later, that started about 1978. And so right now, as we speak, we are now over 75 organ duet commissions.
Wow.
And we have literature from some of the greatest composers from the United States, from Europe, and it's been a remarkable journey. So therefore, we have been doing our recitals playing organ duets, and so many of them are published thanks to you all. And we are continuing to get more published thanks to you all. And thank you for doing the series, because now we are making this body of literature available. But it's a great variety of music and duets. I mean, there's something from the most difficult, challenging repertoire composers to those who are very audience friendly, such as our dear friend Charlie Callahan, who is no longer with us, but you represent so much of his music in your catalog in many, many facets. But actually, before we started talking about adding the Chenault Organ Duet series, Charlie had written a whole lot of organ duets for us, many of which you've published, but they're just not in our series, but they are duets. And so many of those were commissioned by us.
Yeah.
So we've been going on all these years, and it's really exciting, and the response has been overwhelming, really. The composers are having a great time writing for us.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Well, the two new pieces in this series are kind of somewhat related, but let's talk about the first one I want to talk about is the piece by Rachel Laurin. And of course, Rachel passed away, unfortunately, in 2023. But I think you had commissioned her to write a Cantabile à deux. And
that's right.
Tell us a little about that piece.
Right. And the one before that, our very first commission from her was the Fantasy I Do. And you actually have that in the Chenault Duet series as well. And so we added this one later. We've been great fans of Rachel Laurin for many years. It's a great loss to the organ world. Not only was she a tour de force performer in her own right, organist, but she was an amazing composer. And so we loved having her music, and we're so happy with the Cantabile I Do that we decided to ask her to write this next one. And it was one of her very last pieces before she died. And we are so excited to have this in the catalog. But this piece is very different from the first one. It's not as bombastic, although it has a very large buildup, but it ends very beautifully with an almost heavenly ascension in the last section. And it's almost got a Duraflé quality to it, a foray quality. You'll hear that in music because she's French. She was French Canadian. So she's got all of those wonderful harmonies in her writing, the French harmonies. But we stayed very much in touch with her all through her illness, which went on about 2 years. And she wrote us and called us very near the end and said every day she listened to our recording of the Cantabile Adieu. And I think, Mark, that is because she knew she was close to death. And there was this very heavenly ascending ending that she wrote. And I think it gave her great peace of mind and sort of brought her close to where she knew she was going. So it's a very heavenly piece at the end. It's a very special piece. And we're very happy to have two of her pieces in our catalog.
Yeah. And so then the other piece was written as a memorial to both her and to Charlie Callahan. And
That's
it was
right.
by Nicholas White and called In Memoriam. And it's a very special piece as well. Why don't you
It
talk about that?
it is very special. Nick White, who's British by birth but has been in the United States for many, many years, he has written quite a few pieces for us, and we're very happy about that. The spiritual duet you have in the catalog as well as this now In Memoriam. But Beth and I were honored to be part of the American Guild of Organists gala last year as a fundraiser and to help raise money for the endowment fund. And we were honored in Atlanta to play the recital and bring so many of our wonderful colleagues in for a very special evening. And we had just lost two of our favorite duet composers, Rochelle Laurin and then Charles Callahan, who's, I think Charlie had written us over 12 organ duets by the time he passed. And we just thought, because we were playing both of their pieces on our recital for the AGO Gala, that we would commission Nick White to find a piece that would be appropriate to honor them. And this In Memoriam is so beautiful. I mean, Mark, that wasn't a dry in the house the night we played it, including from the Chenaults who were playing it and could hardly get through it at the end. It was very special and very moving. And this piece is very, very beautifully warm, and it's going to be such a great seller, I think, because not only is the duet version so beautiful, but he also arranged it for solo performer, which you have both of those in your catalog now, and it's so beautiful. It works beautifully for funerals, for preludes, and for very special occasions. And the melody is so warm and beautiful. And I think just the sensation of writing it for two very special people, Nick White captured it beautifully. It's just a marvelous piece. And we're getting booked now for recitals, and they're saying, be sure and play In Memoriam for us. We want to get that on there. So it's very special. And we were so happy that we could honor both Charlie Callahan and Rochelle Laurin.
Well, and I know we have more coming, and we're looking forward to some new titles even next year, or as continue on
Right.
this year.
Yes.
So I would encourage people to take a look at our website and go to the organ section. And if you do that, you can go over on the left and filter. And one of the things you can do is find series, and you can see everything in the series. You could also find just organ duets over there, and that will
Right.
also feature everything in the series, as well as some of the other things that you have mentioned already that Charlie particularly has composed that aren't necessarily in the series. So
Right.
thank you for taking time to talk, and we really appreciate the series and think it's just a wonderful collection of materials. I would also say that many of the recordings that are online are also from the two of you. So
Right.
that's also an added benefit of going and looking up the series is you can
Right.
actually
Yeah.
hear wonderful recordings of these pieces.
Indeed. Well, the series so far that we've started this collection, I mean, we've got two from Charlie Callahan that's in the series, and then many more that he wrote for us, as well as our arrangement of the Sousa Stars and Stripes Forever, which has always been one of our best sellers. And it just works magically. And then, of course, you've got a great piece from David Briggs, Variations on the Veni Creator Spiritus, Bruce Nesbitt's Toccata, Bob Hobby's God Rest You Merry Gentlemen. So you've got everything from soup to nuts, and we've got a lot more to add. And I appreciate the fact that you're going to publish my new duet as well, that's based on Slain. So we're the hymn tune Slain. So we're very excited about all of that. So thank you, Mark, again, once again, and MorningStar for supporting this and giving this great body of literature a chance for other people to play.
Well, you're welcome, and thank you for your work. And thanks
Thank
for
you.
taking time to talk today.
My pleasure. Thank you, Mark.
Right. Take care.
Thank you.